Humbled Under Him presents Mr. Chopping it up with the homies.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, today, man, I got my old childhood friends come over here and chop it up with me, man. You wanna introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm Brandon Hirsch. I'm here in the basement or wherever we are, man. This is far out, man, with the cloud and everything. And have you shown the people? You show the people how the cloud lights up?
No.
Oh man, you got to show the people. You got to show them at some point.
Yeah.
All right, look at me. This is cool. It's a cool space, man.
Man, so what's been going on? I know we hadn't really seen each other, and we've all kind of grown up a little bit.
Yeah, that's we bumped into you in the streets a couple of times since I've seen you last. But I guess, dude, I don't even know if I feel like it might have been even before we graduated high school.
Yeah.
Since I seen you last. Well, you know what though? Did you play ball when you were a senior?
Nope.
You didn't.
Mm-mm.
So
it
might have been.
So freshman year, I played.
Okay.
Freshman summer, I got locked up.
Okay.
So I went to juvie.
All right.
So when I got out, you know, I was like, man, I'm way better now. Like, I'm ready to go. Well, I can't play because I'm registered in 2 different schools.
Okay.
But my name was still on the roster for some reason. I was like, oh, man, coach must have really liked me. But then I got in that bad car accident, and I was done for.
Dang.
But yeah, that sucks. I mean, you always bringing up bad memories, man. Golly.
Well, if you go, listen, man, it's like anything else. If you go back far enough, you're gonna find bad memories.
Yeah.
You know, if you've been here, you know.
Yeah, I think I went by when Maya was born. I went by my grandma's house. I think I saw your mom. I was so happy. I'm like, look what I did. Look what I made.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, that's so pretty. Where's Brandon? Oh, I think you were filming. You were filming a movie or something. Drumline, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but that was the other thing. Maya was born, and then like 24 days later, my grandma had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they sold the house, and I was like, well.
Yeah, then they were out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, then they were out of the neighborhood, so I was like, yeah.
You start bumping into each other as much. Yeah.
I drove by there. It's been a while, but man, I got lost. I said, man, I ain't been over here in forever.
Well, yeah.
I can't remember the name of the street. I turned on one of these streets over here.
Well, you know, it's funny, too, because for such a long time, so much of that, you, like, weren't driving it.
Yeah.
You know, you were getting dropped off, somebody's taking you. It's a completely different thing, like, memory-wise, you know?
Yeah. And then it didn't. I mean, we used to walk.
Oh, yeah.
Walk and ride bikes, boy. We would be gone.
Yeah.
And still, I can't remember in them streets, boy.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's like when you go to a city, and you know it's different. Like whether if you're on the bus, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
If you're on a bike, it's different. If you're walking, it's different. If you're in your own car driving, like you just remember everything different.
Yeah, that's true.
Like everything.
Yeah. Man, so what's been going on? You just been,
you know,
hanging out.
I mean, I wish.
You got anything going on?
I wish I'd just been hanging out. So, obviously, I'm still acting, still doing on-camera work, still doing a lot of host, spokesperson stuff, I do TV film stuff whenever it's available. Just recently, last year, I did 6 episodes of a show called Florida Man. It'll be on Netflix. Not sure the release dates, but that'll be out. Play co-anchor Chip Devins.
Yeah.
Yeah, play a news guy at the desk, quipping with my homegirl. There's that. So I'm dadding the game. Like I said, I'm dadding the game real hard. I have 3 little ones.
Yeah.
I say little. One of them's 8, so one of them's getting big.
Yeah, getting big.
They're all getting big, I guess. Lennon, Isla's 8. Lennon is 4.5. She'll be 5 soon. and Lachlan, he'll be 3 in April. So if anybody has children, you have kids, so you know.
No, I know.
You see his eyebrows go up. He's like, "Hold on, man! I got the 4 and 2, or 4 and 3," and he was just like,
I got 21, 18, and 12.
Yeah.
Like, catch up.
Eventually they will, I'm sure.
I just know every once in a while, man, I'll see you'll be on a commercial. I think the last time except for here recently, trying to get you on the podcast, I was watching Ozark. And I was like, hey, you were in there for like 10 seconds.
For 10 seconds.
But I was like, I know him. That's my guy.
You know, that was the first season of that show.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get into this stuff, you know, for a little bit longer. Like, I'm not, you know, and some people knock me for this, but like, I don't promote like every show.
No.
Especially on shows where, like, you know, it's like I got 4 or 5 lines, and I still do that sometimes. But especially back then, I was doing it. So when sometimes I watch the show first. So I never promoted for first run. And I watched it, and I was like, man, it was sort of like the back of my head, and it was like my voice.
Yeah.
And then like the scene, like the rest of the scene got cut. Like there was a little bit more, and there was like a continuation, like outside of the shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like you always sort of feel like when they cut your scene up like that, you always sort of feel like, you feel real icky about it.
Now, did they cut your scene up, or do you think you were there for longer than that?
No. Well, it was, I had the scene that was inside the store, and there was supposed to be a continuation of that scene that continued on outside the store. But they were running short of time that day. They moved on from it. So I see that stuff, and like I can't use that on my reel. I can't use that to promote my services.
Yeah.
You know? And so you sort of like, but then I looked and saw the rest of the show, and almost, unless you were a series regular, somebody who was on the show, like everybody who had like, you know, a co-star part or a guest star part, a lot of them was just like shooting past you. And it was they kept it about the main character. So that way I didn't feel as bad as I had just watching it, you know. It wasn't just me. They didn't just cut me.
Yeah. Like know? I have a couple of buddies, man, they were rappers, man. You'd be at a video shoot for hours. You're promoting, hey, I'm in this video, and then the video comes out, and you're like, don't blink.
Yeah.
If you blink, you're going to miss me. But I was there for 4 or 5 hours. Like, that's all I got, bro. Dang.
Well, you know, it's funny because that one, like, people, like, first of all, a lot of people watch that show. It's a great show. I love the show.
Yeah.
Just finished watching season 4, part 1
the
other day. Yeah. But people recognize my voice.
Yeah. That's how I got it. I was like, hold on.
Which is crazy. This is crazy to me. Like I have a pretty resonant voice, and it's not like if you know me, you know, you'll know my voice.
Yeah.
But it's like people that I don't really know that well would hit me up and be like, yo, B, I heard you. And I'm like, how'd you heard me? They're like, yeah, it was your voice. And I rolled it back and I was like, really? It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Maybe I talk too much. Maybe that's the thing.
No, and I just remember, man, well, we was young, what, 6th grade, 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade? And he was like, man, I'm going to be an actor. I'm like, no, bro. Not you. No way. Nope. I had no idea what I was going to be.
Well, I figured out, man, think about it like this, man. It's like actors got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to come from somewhere. Usually, whoever.
Well, now that you're older, I guess you would call, you've been doing it for a while. Do you feel like you're too old and might need to do directing or writing, or have you even thought about that part yet?
Yes, I have thought about it. But I've also, like, they got roles for old people too, man.
Yeah. I look at sometimes like, man, I could be an actor.
Like now
I'm old.
Like now the thing is like, you know, I used to play a son or like a student.
Yeah.
And now, like, they call me to play like a dad,
Yeah.
like, which is cool. Like, I'm still not like, I'm not like a well-worn dad or anything. Like, I'm still a pretty like,
Yeah. Well, I look at something. What is one show I watch? All American.
Yeah.
Like I watched that and I'm like, man, them guys they're not in high school.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Like they're 20 something.
Well, that's what
playing high school kids.
What was the girl's name? I remember like 90210 was like that. They made a big thing because like none of them were like high school age.
Yeah.
And like what's her name? Like the oldest girl, like the one. What's her name? I don't know. She played Andrea. I think it was her name. Yeah, she was like 26 or something.
Playing a high schooler.
Playing a high schooler.
Man.
Which was like whatever. It's like it works if everybody is like the same age.
Yeah.
Like you can't have like a 15-year-old playing against like a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
But if everybody in the cast is 25, like 22 to 27, then it's just like.
Yeah. That's like what was it? The Walking Dead. Like the character that played Carl. He's still supposed to be a little kid, but for some reason he's like 6'5" now. So he can't be this 12-year-old kid anymore because he's the tallest person on the show, so they had to kill him off.
Oh, they had to kill him?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was like, he ain't supposed to be dead yet. Like, he's still supposed to be alive in the comic book, but you can't have a 6'5", 13-year-old out there.
I always think about that. Like, if you have it's really difficult to cast like a kid because if the show runs 5 years or 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, and you cast a kid at like 6 or 7, they're gonna go through all types of changes. Yeah. You don't know what you got. I mean,
they could be 11, but the show could only have been 6 months long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 6 months in showtime. How do you got to be really prepared for that? Like, how do you? I always wondered too. Like, I was watching the kids from Ozark. It's like, how do you know that 5 years from now these kids are gonna be better actors?
Yeah.
That how they're gonna be able to do it, and these kids were able to do it. They did it.
It's like this last, the last, whatever, part 1 of season 4, the boy, he looks different. I'm like, he grew up a little bit. I can't remember because I didn't go back and like rewatch to catch up because it's been a couple of years.
You know what they have though? They have really cool recap trailers.
Yeah.
Like you can go straight up, man. It's like
skip those.
Nah, you gotta watch. Nah, well, yeah. At the beginning of the show, you do, but they actually have them. I saw this because we were having the same issue. I was me and Erica. This is my wife. We sat down to watch the show, and she was like, "I don't know what's going on right now." And then I found out after I went ahead and finished watching the show, but afterwards. Season 1, season 2, season 3, they all have like these like 4 or 5 minute like recaps.
Yeah. Hold on. Keep talking.
Because they know,
I was like, man, the camera didn't come on. All right.
So yeah, man. How do you cast kids? How do you know? But apparently it can be done though. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the only show that.
Man, Maya was real big into theater and drama at school, and like, out of all the kids, she's probably the best actor. Not just saying this that because she's my kid, but she would be the best actor. The problem is in school they're all musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Kid can't sing worth nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. Senior year's coming. She finally gonna get the little lead role. No, she can't sing, and I don't want to hear her sing one of these little solo songs. Did you ever do that in school?
Nah, man.
Theater or anything?
It conflicted with like sports.
Yeah.
We had basketball games on Friday night. Like your final exam for theater is the show.
Yeah.
And that runs on the weekend, so it was a conflict. So I could never do it. So I did one time, I forgot what it was. I started out with the first theater class, like it was like Theater 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But here's what they did wrong was like the first unit, dig this, the first unit of Theater 1 in high school was voice and diction. Now I'm a kid. I'm like, yo, let's talk about acting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about drama. Let's talk about whatever it is. But they literally started out with the least interesting thing that they could possibly think of to present to us. And so I ended up withdrawing from that class, and I ended up, because it was an elective. I didn't need it. I ended up withdrawing from that class and ended up taking a sports period, right? And I straight up, man, I sat in the hall for about 12 weeks just chopping it up with people like who were going to the bathroom. They're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, this is my class. It was a sports period, and there was no sport. I wasn't in a sport, actually. So there I was.
Yeah, because when I went to juvie, I did all of my high school credits in juvie in like a year and a half.
Right.
So like when I got out, I would have been a junior, but I was a senior. Mm-hmm. Well, really, I needed elective credits.
Sure.
Like I literally had to sew a pillow to get my high school diploma.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Like I refused to do it. Like I can't remember the teacher's name, but I was like, I'll come in here after class if you don't tell anybody. She's like, but you can sew it. And I'm like, I don't want anybody to see me sew this pillow. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do it, but I got to do it, like, by myself. Can't nobody see it. She's like, well, you get to keep it. I don't want it.
I don't want any evidence of this experience.
Yeah.
So you had an option. So you could go in there, you could sew a pillow and graduate, but you had conditions.
Yeah. I wasn't going.
Yeah, you wasn't going.
I was done. I was like, man, I'm just gonna go to jail after I leave here. You know, I didn't think about going to college or anything like that.
Then they was like, that's like a skill set you could use, like in jail. If they let you, if they let you have a needle, you would need a pillow. Yeah. They'd probably give you a needle.
I would have made one.
Behavior.
You just take your T-shirt off and put your shoes in there, and bam.
See, pillow making 101.
That's how you make one in jail,
bro. What was Oh man, that reminds me. So, what'd you go to juvie for?
Man, it was like Grand Theft Auto. Ended up getting knocked down to like joyriding or something like that.
Oh, yeah? What'd you do that for?
Well, I wasn't the one that stole the car. I was the passenger in the car. For some reason, I'm the one that got in trouble for it.
Oh, you know.
I didn't snitch.
My dad, my uncle always used to have this thing that they would say. They would call them, it's a whiff'em law. And if somebody gets stopped, if you're not the one doing the crime, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be guilty because you're with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I made the same face the first time I heard it, but now I'm a dad, so I get a pass. I can tell that joke now that I have my own kids. And I tell them that. I'm like, hey, man, look, if you see trouble, don't stand next to it.
Yeah.
You know?
I let mine learn. You know, eventually you can tell your kid that the stove is hot and don't touch it, but they're not going to learn till they burn themselves.
That's true, but I think you need to be able to leverage the fact that you told them so.
Oh, here, I got this good story.
Okay, what you got?
Chloe, the 12-year-old.
All right.
Sneaks out. Well, I don't know if she snuck out. But anyway, she sneaks out and gets caught by the cops. And smart, she calls her sister.
Mm-hmm.
The cops release her to her sister, which is 18. She's an adult. And sister then tells on her. And I'm over here like, how did that even happen? Like, I'm mad that they woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like, y'all could have waited till 7, 8 o'clock to tell me this. Like, y'all didn't have to come wake me up out of my sleep. Because then I'm like, well, how did that even happen? Why did the cops not want to talk to me? Why didn't I have an older brother or sister when I was younger to come save me? And then it was like, well, you know what? I was mad, but no harm, no foul. She's scared to death. She's probably never going to sneak out again.
Sure.
But, golly. what could have happened. Somebody could have snatched her up at 1 a.m. You know.
Yeah.
But
You know, I
I want to talk to the cop. Like, who picked up my kid walking down the street 1 o'clock in the morning and just released them to their sibling
right.
and didn't want to talk to me? They got to come knock on the door. Like,
Where was what community was this in?
it was right here.
Oh, it's just like
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm just like, where were you even going? Oh, you were going to meet a boy. Okay, where is this boy at? I want to find him.
Oh boy. You see what I did?
But I was like, man, how many times did you sneak? And I'm over here like, how many times did I sneak out when I was a kid? How much trouble did I get into? Well, at least she didn't get in trouble yet.
Yeah. Well, you know, so
But I was impressed.
I've been doing some reading, right? I've been doing some reading about psychology. And I was learning, like, one of the things is that, like, kids don't, like, your brain doesn't fully develop until you're, like your late 20s. And that's guy or girl. Like, you're not there yet. And so while your brain is developing, you are making decisions with the wrong part of your brain, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So everything short circuits. So I could tell you, you know, intellectually, like what's right from wrong. I could ask you in this room, is this the best choice or is this the worst choice? And you bet every time you get it right 100% of the time. But then when presented with the option, regardless of who told you that, you're going to make choices that undermine your best information because your brain isn't developed enough. And it's like, and that's not just you, and that's not me. That's everybody.
But what's right from wrong, though?
Well,
see?
all right, I'll say what's right from wrong is what works for you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for you, then it's wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes, again, but that's part of it, though. Like what you're talking about, you're right. You have to have that trial and error to figure out because sometimes, you know, Joe may smoke cigarettes, right? But cigarettes might not work for you. They might work for Joe.
Yeah, they are.
You know, Joe might wear his boots backwards.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that. And you have that trial and error. Sometimes you do have to try stuff. That's how your brain develops. Anyway, that's how your brain gets to that developed part, you know?
Oh, man. So do you, what'd you say, the oldest one's 8?
8.
Do you let her, well, I guess you probably don't have a cell phone yet, but.
Nah, no cell phone yet. Trying to figure that out.
You got the iPad and the tablet and just.
We got the iPad, the tablet.
They look at you like, yeah.
Yeah, all of that. But we sort of, like, it's different now, too, because, like, so your kids are basically going through this stuff or are going through or went through it 10 years previous to mine.
Yeah.
Now we have, like, research and data and stuff like that. And it's also part of our culture. We're not just like, yo, like, we know that they're, like, cracktastic.
Yeah.
We know,
Cracktastic.
you know, we know that, like,
That's
these
word.
things are designed to captivate you and manipulate you.
But you need it sometimes.
Yeah, you got to have it. But we don't, you know, it's like we just have limits,
Yeah.
you know. And half the stuff,
It'll
they don't
distract you from doing anything.
from anything. Mm-hmm. Dude, so when all the political stuff and the back and forth, like 2016, well, no, this is 2020, jeez. So 2020, COVID and George Floyd and election stuff, politics stuff. So, like, you know, I spent probably like 45 days of, like, you know, being a social activist online, like trying to educate people, hit people and stuff. And I was like, you know what, this is nonsense. So I got off. You can go back and check my Instagram. Like, I think I posted a black square like in June of like 2020.
Yeah, you don't post that much.
Yeah. And then I let it go. Well, you know what I did? You know what I was doing while I was not on social media? I was getting a degree.
Yeah.
I was in school, like, learning stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, and I was like, I thought to myself, I'm like, now some people are on, you know, and the reason I got on social media was because for business. I went to a show. I did a show one time, and nobody wanted my business card anymore. It was like it was 1955. Hey, here's my business card.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was like, nah, man, you got to be on Facebook. And I was like, I really got to be on Facebook. And I heard it like 4 times that day. So I got on Facebook. That's why I got on. All of my social media is essentially because I'm in something that needs that.
Yeah.
I'm not a good steward of social
That's
media.
kind of the easiest way to support or to promote something is social media now.
It's great. So if you're on there for a purpose, it's great. You're on there to promote something. Yeah. But it's just like anything else. Like if you're walking down the street and you're on your way somewhere, but you don't know where you're going, like you're going to get into like all types of stuff. You're going to walk through somebody's backyard. Yeah. You know, you're going to walk into somebody's house. You might get shot. You might anything.
Yeah.
Wrong neighborhood, wrong place, wrong time because you don't have any, you're not going anywhere. You're just out. But if you have some place to go, you're going to pick up your kids from school. That gives you direction.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with social media. Like a lot of people on social media, you know, the people are the audience. A lot of them don't have any direction. You know, a lot of them are just out there.
You can get into a loop, man, and just sit there and just hours just pass by for nothing.
So I realized
for a couple of laughs.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a couple of laughs. You know
right.
what I mean?
For a couple of laughs.
A couple of laughs.
Strip the bleep.
But every once in a while, man, something will catch. You'll get something good out of it. Like somebody will post a video and it'll be like, "Oh man, I really needed to hear that right now."
I'm not knocking the convention, but I also believe that we spend a disproportionate amount of time being distracted on the platform. So I looked at my own life, and during that period of time, I went back to school in May of 2020. I'll graduate with my bachelor's degree in May of 2022. I can honestly say I probably posted 10 to 12 times of anything, and half the times it was a share.
Yeah,
you know, and that's just And I thought for me, again, whether it works, it works. For me, what was working at the time was to like do something to work on myself. 'Cause I didn't have anything to sell at the time. You know, I didn't have any business. Like I didn't have any business. And what was happening was I'd be online and somebody would say something inflammatory or some whatever, and all of a sudden you get sucked in. You're like, brrr, all of a sudden 30 minutes gone. 30 minutes gone, arguing with a stranger about somebody like who can't be convinced.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know you. You know, you don't have any, you know, and everybody.
You're not going to change anybody's mind.
And they're going to change, and you're definitely not going to change their mind by telling them they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the worst place to start with somebody.
The trolls, man.
Bro.
It's like, golly, it's comical sometimes, but I'm like, some people just don't know what they're even talking about. But then so many different people get to put their opinion out on something that nobody cares about your opinion.
The value of opinions.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like nobody cares about your little 2 cents.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, somebody will agree with you. And then next thing you know, you got an army of 2 cents coming at you. Like you got a roll of pennies now. Bang.
Bang.
It ain't just ding ding. It's bang, bang, bang.
Man. Yeah, you know, opinions, man. Like that seems like that was like a thing that happened too. That was one of the reasons I got off of social media, really.
And a lot of people don't think. I think that's like the Titans just wet the bed last week. And everybody's got an opinion. Oh, it's the quarterback's fault. It's the offensive coordinator's fault. It's so and so. Man, they wet the bed is what happened.
Sure.
You can't blame the coach. The coach didn't throw an interception. The coach didn't miss a tackle. The coach didn't drop the ball. The player was running the play that the coach called. But man, God, man, the other team, we lost. You know what I mean? Like I want to be mad, fire everybody.
You know, it's like this cool was like when we were growing up, you had to earn the right to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Like you had to like learn. You had to prove it, and and you had to be like good at presenting your opinion too.
Yeah.
Now you just, I don't like it. You know, it's just like they'd be like, why do you don't like it? That's my opinion. You know, it's like that's what it would be.
My kid told me the other day, well, you weren't using it, so I'm going to use it. Well, first off, who said you could even use it? Well, you weren't using it. Well, I don't mind that you used it, but when I'm looking for it, I would like to know what happened to it.
Right.
But every time you use something, it's broken. Like, well, where are my tripods for the camera at? Oh, I borrowed them. Okay, well, I need them back. Yeah. Well, I'm using them. Then you get one back, the leg's missing off. Oh, where is the other leg? Oh, I guess it fell off. How did the tripod leg fall off? Did it break? I don't know, maybe. Well, of course. How about you go buy one yourself?
Yeah.
How about show me which one you want, and I'll just buy it for you so you don't touch mine.
So this will never happen again.
Yeah.
That's like a very
like these are my bag of chips.
Yeah.
If you want your own bag of chips, I'll buy you some, but I don't want to share my bag.
Sounds like kids like have like real opinionistic explanations and stuff. It's real like, I think so. Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure.
But like I like to let my kids have their own opinion, be themselves. You know, I don't try to. Every once in a while, I'll say, "Look, we're Rapons, and we don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's like, "Well, maybe we're Rapons, and you do that." I don't know, but I try to correct them in certain areas. But I like them to at least think for themselves sometimes. Where dress how you want to dress.
Yeah,
you know. I don't, just because my parents didn't like the music I listened to.
Sure.
I'm not going to like the music that you listen to.
And their parents didn't like the music that they listened to.
Yeah,
That's just part of
that's
the role.
And it's like, you didn't want to dress like your dad dressed.
Sure.
But then you're trying to make your son probably wear a matching outfit that you got on, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, this would look cool.
Yeah.
You got the,
Yeah.
But it's like, maybe you don't want to wear that.
Yeah.
But right now, he ain't got no choice.
Yeah.
He don't have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
You might hold up a blue or red shirt. Hey, which one do you want?
Actually,
Daddy, I want the black shirt instead.
Honestly, man, I was amazed at how quickly they start to like have their own opinion, and you start to see stuff that's not you, it's not your wife, it's not anybody you know. It's like, oh, that's a unique spirit right there. That's something different.
Or the way they cut their hair.
Sure.
Cut his hair this way. And then eventually it's, I don't want to cut my hair. I want to grow it out. And
it's quick too. Like I said, it happens sooner than you're ready. I know it's like for my wife too. It's like right now, every morning, my middle daughter, Lennon, she wears uniforms to preschool. So it's like that sort of thing.
That's easy.
But the older one though, like, if we've had to like do like, inter-house mediation to try to figure out, like, it's like, hold on, guys, wait a minute, this isn't personal, and if she makes mistakes, commits fashion faux pas, then her 7-year-old, 8-year-old friends will I don't know, tell her mom is so broke, whatever, but but they'll figure it out. They're going to wear what they want to wear.
Like Chloe this morning, she's 7th grade. She's got on one of her sister's hoodies and sleeping pants. Like, do like little flannel? Do y'all plan on looking like you're homeless when you walk out of the house? Well, I'm just comfortable. Yeah, I guess. Is that the new word for homeless? Because didn't you have those on yesterday? Didn't you sleep in that? You look like you slept in that.
That's funny, man. I stopped by my mom's house the other day, and my dad has they have somebody there to help with my dad now, and it was funny because I was going to like Thanksgiving lunch at the school, and I had a pair of jeans on, I had a T-shirt. I had like a cardigan, just a little sweater or whatever on, and some like Chucks, like my worn, like, you know, street Chucks. And they looked at me, they were like, "You going to the school like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I don't you know, I don't care."
You see how I go.
Yeah, it says so I'm going.
I go out there, I go in a t-shirt, man. They think I'm gonna rob the place. My tattoos and everything showing. I just laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool to see that though, man. Like, you know, when we were like, and I grew up, you know where I grew up. I grew up out in the suburbs. Like, everybody was wearing, like, you know, the parents were wearing, like, either you were a worker, you're like a worker guy, and you had, like, a buck knife and some jeans and one of the big heavy belts, some work boots, and a flannel shirt on.
Yeah.
Or
you had on a suit.
Or you had on a suit.
Shirt.
Or you had on, like, some duck head pants, some Dockers or something. With the little loafers the cats used to wear back in the day, like that was like what the dads
penny loafers with the penny in.
That's right. That's what the dads were wearing back then.
Yeah.
But like now, it's like everybody's doing their own thing, which is cool, man. I moved back there, and one of the things I was concerned about, you know, moving that back, we lived in a place, you know, around the corner that was really, really like diverse, and you know, and there was, you know, more densely populated you are, densely populated area you're in, there's going to be more crime, there's going to be all of that stuff. But we love the fact that, like, in, like, you know, a 5 square mile radius, there were like 180 languages being spoken, you know, like that type of thing. It was that type of like international community.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we moved to the suburbs. I'm like, you know, I don't know if it's going to be, you know, too vanilla out here, like what it's going to be like. And like, sure enough, it's like crazy. It's like, there are like, especially out there are like tons of like mixed kids.
Yeah.
And tons of like Latino kids. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy in a good way. Because I was like, I had no idea that the suburbs in Tennessee had become so diverse.
Man, I tell you, there are so many. I mean, I love it. That's going to be part of the racism part of kids growing up. But there are so many mixed kids that, I mean, it's just great to see. Like, sometimes you don't even, like, you know, your wife's white. You know, a couple of my friends, you know, they got black wives. You know, and mixed kids. And I'm just running around. I think I'm the only person that's got, like, a white kid. I'm just like, whose kids are these? Well, they're everybody's kids, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you have no idea.
Yeah. And that's cool, man. That's how, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, 3 or 4 generations from now, like, we'll all be, like, we'll all be one race.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I got little nieces and nephews that, you know, they're half Latino, Hispanic, and it's like, man, okay. Well, everybody's just hanging out. Nobody knows. When you're a kid, you don't think nothing like that. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. Like I'm running around. Oh, we got Brandon coming over. He's a black guy. You know, I have no idea. No, you were the guy that lived across the street.
Right.
We played basketball together.
Right.
I didn't think anything about it.
We saw,
or I didn't. You know, I always bring up this analogy sometimes too, where maybe if I didn't listen to Tupac and Biggie and Wu-Tang, you know, growing up, and I listened to Nirvana and Bush and Leonard Skinner, like, maybe I'd be a little different. But I didn't like that type of music.
You know what, dog? I've often thought to myself, I was like, cable and the internet made, like, by virtue of exposure, like Nelly, Snoop, Dre, like, those guys put it in your home. Those guys were in your home every day, you know? And that's like something, that's a paradigm that didn't exist 20 years ago. You know, that constant torrent of, you know, here they are. You know, here black people are. And so people weren't afraid. And matter of fact, and honestly, you know, we're talking about like Snoop and Dre. We're talking about, you know, they were, you know, attributed some of their affiliations to being like gangster stuff.
Yeah.
It was all about being gangster for them. So we're talking about the worst. So when you met a guy like me,
Yeah.
you were, first of all, if you thought that all black people were like gangster rappers, then when you met a guy like me, you were like, man, these guys are great.
Yeah.
You know, I
have a black friend.
I have a black friend, but he's not like those guys, you know. But it did. I often think about that, man. Like having cable and Total Request Live.
Yeah.
Changed the game for race relations in the United States and around the world. You know, that Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan went to college. Michael
Yeah,
Jordan.
Everybody wanted to be Michael Jordan.
That's right, man. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Oh. But you got to see him every day. You know, see him every day.
Yeah.
30 years before that, man, you didn't get to see. You didn't have those images.
Mm-mm.
They talk about like equal representation. So I'll give you an example. So we were watching like Black Panther. I just had it on. Like I'm a Marvel head.
Now, how did you like Black Panther?
Man, it wasn't. Like I know it's like blasphemy to say that it wasn't like for me. Like it wasn't like the best Marvel movie, right?
Well,
but
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Yes.
But I also thought they was taking a jab at black culture somewhat. The accent part.
Well, so the accents. You say the accents were bad.
No, I mean just like I was just kind of like, well, black people don't sound like that.
Well, they're African.
Well, I should have thought about that.
but think about it like.
Well, I guess if I was going to try to do my English Irish accent, I guess somebody might think I'd be like, man, that dude sounds weird. Okay, it makes sense now.
See, okay, so like Black Panther was more than just like a cinematic. It was cool to see them to give it the full treatment. Mm-hmm. Like because before Black Panther, like I guess you had like you had like
superheroes.
You had Meteor Man and like Blank Man or something like that. Like you didn't really have real like black superheroes that weren't like, you know, Blade. Blade's a vampire though. And it's like, you know, he wasn't right. He wasn't a righteous dude at all, you know.
Yeah.
But so Black Panther, what it did was, so when my son turned on, I had it on one day. He's watching the TV. And because he's seen me on TV a little bit too, he looked over there and he saw T'Challa, and he looked and immediately said, "Daddy," right?
Yeah.
Now, if there hadn't have been Black Panther, if it had just been Superman, he wouldn't make that connection.
Yeah.
You know, so having that it's possible to be a superhero just in the universe, you know. I always thought the same thing about, like, you know, even with like Barack Obama becoming president. It's like we grew up in the 80s. You know, grew up little kids in the 80s. So and Reagan was president for a long time. He was born in 1980 or 81. Mm-hmm. Reagan was president until, you know, 89 when they inaugurated, you know, HW. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I had this image in my head that all presidents looked like Ronald Reagan. Like they were all supposed to be like Ronald Reagan-esque, because that was the prototype in my life experience. So you have a bunch of kids who come into a world where, let's say if you were born in 2008, so for the next 8 or 9 years, you only know the president as the black guy, the well-spoken, the really articulate, overachieving black guy, you know, the smartest guy in the room, black guy.
Yeah.
You know, and that changes things, because kids, all of a sudden there's much less distance between who they are and what they can become, or what's been represented to them. And it didn't hit me until my son like looked at the screen and saw a superhero and made the equation like between me and that superhero.
Yeah. Because
I'd always sort of been like, I think we're hitting it in terms of like discussing it, like the equal representation thing, too hard. But then I was like, and then it really clicked.
Yeah, I kind of see that where when a woman becomes president,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't realize that, oh, my daughter, you know, she can become the president of the United States. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to have this person president, you know, whatever they said about Hillary or whatever when she was running. But I was like, you're looking at, you know, as far as the gender goes, like, hey, this is empowering women. Like, women are very important. And you know what I mean? Like, they really are. Like,
man,
you want to really know who controls a lot of things around here. It's a good woman.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
But
and you know too, having daughters.
Yeah.
Like it does. Like you know, I'm only child. You know, being only children, it's like you think of that stuff differently. Like it does matter. It did matter to have a female vice president.
Yeah.
You know, to see.
See, I think that's what this last time nobody ever brung that into consideration. I was like, regardless of your views on either way, Republican, Democrat, or whatever, it's like people didn't realize that there was a woman vice president running. And she's a different color.
Yeah.
And sometimes people see that. Sometimes you can just be talking. I ain't paying no attention. I'm just looking.
Yeah.
What kind of shoes you got on? What
right.
is that? I ain't hear nothing that came out of your mouth. Well, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
With that, I ain't hear nothing you said. But, you know, some people don't realize that part of it. And it took me a while. I was like, that's why.
Yeah.
You know. But I've also, people play race a little way too much sometimes. Does it make?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like you're a black guy. I've never considered you being a black guy. I mean, you're Brandon.
But that's
Hirsch.
you know what though.
I grew up
That's
with you. You
but
know
that's,
what I mean?
But that's,
Like,
that's something that is attributable to you.
yeah,
That's you.
might just be me.
But it's not just
Not just me,
yeah.
but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but that's a big part of you. Like, there's never been an issue.
yeah,
You know, it's not like one of those things. You can always, like, I have friends
yeah,
that I've known from the same time and met around the same time or knew from before that as we got older, you know, little things would come out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Little ideas.
There's people that I grew up with too, and I look at them now and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you weren't like this when we was kids.
Right.
You know what happened?
But then, like I remember hearing stuff like one of my friends, we were like in 4th or 5th grade, and he, had a girlfriend, quotation marks, had a girlfriend, and her name, she was a Mexican girl. And he asked me, and he was like in complete denial. Like his brother had called this girl, was like, oh yeah, she's they called her to say, this girl is a derogatory term, you know? And he was like, no, she's not. And she was like, no, she's not. He's like, she's a white girl. And he was like, nah, dude, she's a derogatory term. And went into it. And I was like, looking back at it, I was like, not only were like some people so unaware of other people, but they were so aware of their own like righteousness that they couldn't accept, like, even if they had found some beauty in something else.
Yeah, it's like I think you probably remember the 2 Japanese guys that grew up with us. Dang, I can't remember their names. But they had just moved here, like their parents didn't know English hardly.
Like it was like middle school?
Yeah.
I
Dang,
think
what was
so.
their
I
name?
don't remember.
I can't remember. They were really good at soccer. But like I went to elementary school actually with them, and like I'll go over their house. I'm talking about they got the Nintendo 64. It's in Japanese, or whatever. They got it. It's not even out here yet.
Yeah,
We're playing. And it was just like the cultural shock. Like, I like these guys. They could draw the little anime stuff by hand. And in 4th grade, like, dude, I can't even draw a stick man. Like, this is so cool. Oh, man, what kind of food is this? This is not McDonald's,
Right.
you know?
Right.
This is good. It was like more of a culture. I like being around something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I was explaining that. So there was.
They make you take your shoes off when you come over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Man, there was a cartoon on this morning, and like the people were like, they had like a black person and a white person, and they had like a purple person, like a green person, and like just random colors.
Yeah.
And my 8-year-old Isla noticed it, and she was just like, Daddy, like, she's like, you know, she just noticed it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's one way to sort of, you know, dilute the concept of color and race mattering. But I was also like, check it out. Like, I don't think we should deny the concept of culture. Race is it's a transient construct. Like, it's something that's moving. Like, it's you know, what constitutes who has the upper hand in terms of race is just something that's fluid, right? You know, it's changed forever. But culture matters. And sometimes culture is associated with race and heritage and different lineage. But I was like, we should celebrate that. We should acknowledge it and celebrate it.
Yeah.
Rather than just deny it or ignore it. You know, I think that's missing the point. I was like, if you look at yourself, I said, we all have an interesting background, have interesting makeup, an interesting heritage. And if we honor ourselves that way and we honor each other that way, then, you know, then we have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like, it's cool to be around people that are different if you have that mentality and you're not threatened by it. You got to be secure in who you are, you know, and that's, I mean, how we develop that in society is a process.
It's all a lot of it is when it benefits you. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, those guys we grew up with that were Japanese, man, love those guys.
Yeah.
Loved hanging out with them, right? You know,
Yeah.
and then you buy a Honda and it breaks down on you, and you spend your last bit of money saving up on it. Yeah, you're gonna say some racial slur about your car. You know, this stupid, you know, you want to blow it up. But why does it come down to it being made different, or we're all here?
Because it's easy.
You know, it's kind of like, do you, not necessarily, what is it called? Not racial jokes, but racial stigmas. Like, I think it's so funny when people say white people don't season their food. Like, it's so funny to me. Like, I laugh so hard. I'm like, man, that's so funny. Or you hear white people talk.
My wife doesn't season her food.
She doesn't?
Nah. Like, she refuses to use the garlic powder or the onion powder or anything like that. It's always like, because of me, because, we have high blood pressure in my family and stuff. So she puts very little salt, very little pepper, very little oil, very little butter. And like, what else is there? You know?
You got to put some flavor on it.
That's what I said. That's what, it's the difference sometimes between the kids eating the chicken or not.
Yeah.
You know?
They pretty much want the seasoning.
Salt and pepper is not enough for a chicken breast in a pan.
No.
But she won't pull it out though. I'll be like, hey babe, use the garlic. But she's like,
she's a vampire, bro. She is.
Think so?
Yeah.
No garlic. Thanks. Thank you for waiting on me to catch up to that one. I appreciate it.
Oh man. So what's going on? Nothing else? Partying?
It's always going on. No, man. It's like, sure.
So are you in any news things coming up that you can talk about?
Florida, man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man on Netflix.
Netflix.
I don't know when that'll be out. I imagine it'll be out sometime.
What's it about?
2022. It's about some dude. I'm really bad with this. I'm really bad with this. I don't even know what it's about.
You don't even know what it's about?
Yeah,
you just say your words?
Well, you know what? It's about a dude who, well, it's like I my stuff took place in a sort of like an alternate universe, a universe in and of the project. You know, I was in the newsroom, but
So you're not necessarily a main character or nothing like that, but you have a role.
Yeah.
You just know what you had to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guilty of that sometimes. Listen, I don't have a lot of opportunities. I think from the gist of it that I got from what I was able to read and what I'm able to say is it's about a man who
lives in Florida.
Yeah, lives in Florida. And he's trying to solve some crime of some sort. So, and honestly, man,
And is it like a movie or is it?
It's a TV show,
series?
episodic. Yeah, I believe it opens with 6 episodes. And I'm not sure whether or not there'll be a second season or not.
Now I got a question.
Details.
I was asking my wife that. Like Netflix, for instance, series comes out, they drop all the episodes, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Hulu, you got one comes out every Friday or Tuesday. Which would do you prefer? Like, bam, I'm watching all of them right here. Now I just wasted my whole entire weekend
Okay,
watching this whole show, or the suspense of having to wait till next week.
Ah, man, I gotta tell you, like, it's a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways. It really does. So, if I get all the episodes at once, I waste my weekend. And then I don't have any episodes for another year or whenever they decide to make more and release more.
Yeah.
But if they release it every week,
the Wu-Tang series on Hulu, I think, does it. They'll drop like the first 2 or 3, you know, and then you might have like a week off, and then it starts.
yeah,
Where it's kind of like both variations of it. You know what I mean? Well,
that's a nice way to. I know a couple of shows have done that. That's a nice way to do it. But like Ozark, it was like I started watching it, and then I was like, I need to go ahead and see how this ends.
yeah, I can't wait.
Boba Fett, I watched that. I watched like The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and that they release that every week, and that's worked out.
Do you like it?
I like The Mandalorian more.
Did you like the last episode?
Yes.
Yeah, I watch it too.
Yeah.
Like I try to stay up till midnight sometimes. Like, how come it's coming at midnight?
I guess. Hold on, man. I should say. I guess. How long will it take you to edit this?
I mean, I'm gonna have this one out probably by maybe the end of the weekend, probably.
Ah, okay. Well, then I'll save the spoilers then.
Yeah. Yeah, you can spoil them.
No. I'm not gonna. Some people like that. It doesn't bother me. Spoilers. That doesn't bother me. Like having a show spoiled. I don't care how it ends. I want to see the process. I want to see how they get there. Like same thing with like Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man, people were like, doing the whole thing is like, especially with the Marvel stuff, because they always have surprises and they always have cool tie-ins.
Like Spider-Man or whatever. Well, eventually he's gonna defeat whoever he's up against.
No,
somehow most of the time.
That's not true.
I mean, most of the time they're like Endgame, and it's like, man, what you mean?
Yeah, Infinity War, and that.
Infinity Wars is like those are you. I mean, most of the time
that was mind blowing.
Most of the time, the superhero defeats the guy.
But did Spider-Man really defeat? Did he really win this time?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
What?
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, why? What are you waiting on?
Huh?
No wonder you had holiday.
I wasn't
no
really
wonder
big.
You had holiday blues, man.
I'm not really big into Marvel stuff.
Oh, what?
I watched the Loki and Hawkeye.
Okay.
But I'm so late in the game. Like, I don't understand.
Honestly, man, I thought about this the other day. I was like, They have so many movies now.
Yeah.
Like, is there a good point of entry for somebody who says, like, for example, so you watched Hawkeye and Loki, and so for you,
Kind of had no idea about the Hawkeye one.
okay,
Or even watching WandaVision and Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, I watched all those.
did they give?
But
you,
I had no idea about some of the stuff till later on. I get to watching like episode reviews. I'm like, oh, totally makes sense if I would have known or read the comic book.
Sure.
I have no idea. I'm just like, okay, whatever.
I found myself having to do that, so I didn't really. I wasn't a huge fan.
But now Boba Fett, Star Wars, I'm searching.
Oh, you there?
All over, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't read the comic books, but I was like, when Black Chrysanthemum, that Wookiee guy showed up, I'm like, who the is that? Oh man, okay.
See,
I'm on the internet, I'm searching, I'm trying to get somebody to read the comic book to
I
me.
almost feel like I want less Boba Fett. I almost feel like the mystery that enshrouded Boba Fett was what made him such a legend, because then we could just sort of like imagine these things, and now some of it's been cemented.
The flashbacks in Back to Tank or whatever got on my nerves after like the third episode. Like you could have just did a whole episode of that.
Sure.
But these last two episodes would probably figure out if it was good. But like they're like, man, he's soft, and I'm like, man, no, he's old.
Yeah, he's old.
Kind of wait, you know, the way. I'm not that they waited too long to do it, but it's still a live action story that like I'm like, it's good to see.
I like that this part of the universe, the Mandalorian, Boba Fett. I like the tone.
Yeah.
I like the way it feels. It feels like their time they spend on Tatooine and the other planet. Like it feels a certain way.
And it's all,
cool.
I think it's almost like equal ground where, okay, the Jedi or the Sith are going to show up and they're the ones that are going to defeat everybody, where it's pretty much kind of equal battle,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. It's a new story. It's almost, you feel like it's kind of a little late to the game,
Yeah.
but it's, I mean, I enjoy it.
No, I will say, like, you know, having the
It did mess up the mystique of
yeah.
Boba Fett, but then if you go back and you watch, how's he this bad dude? He didn't even do nothing.
He's just a bounty hunter.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? But he's supposed to be one of the baddest dudes in the universe.
And
he ain't never really done nothing.
I mean, honestly, man, it feels like, honestly, though, like, if I had to, I feel like...
It's like even the Mandalorian. I like the Mandalorian, but man, he gets his ass whooped a lot.
No, he doesn't.
If it wasn't for that armor, boy, he'd be dead a long time ago.
Well, it's about the armor. the armor is the deal.
Yeah.
However, though, with the armor, I take the Mandalorian 2-1 any day over Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Any day. And I like the shows, but I could do I think I've had about as much. I'll finish watching it and I'm gonna watch it all anyway. They know that now.
I kind of watched it and I was kind of like, Disney is not ruining it, but you see the Disney part of it. If that makes any sense.
It's like
come on, man. Is this for the kids or is this for the adults?
it's
Like you don't want it to be like Ozark, for instance.
Yeah.
Or like you're watching Power or something. But you also want to sit down with your son or your daughter and watch it. Where it's like, hey kids, we're watching a grown-up show. You need to go in the other room. You know what I mean?
Do you think it tilts more heavily toward like adults or kids?
Well, it kind of gets some where it's kind of kiddie a little bit.
You think so? I'm not bothered by that. That didn't bother me.
But you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Where this is a show that you grew up watching, and now you're an adult. You want to watch the adult version. of it, where it's like you want some more killing and murdering and blood and guts and where it's like this is a little
alien titties.
What's the girl on there? Bill? What's the one name? But no, you get to watching it where it's like, so maybe it's a little. The guys with their little bikes that come up, the little mod people.
Those guys have been around those guys have always been there.
Yeah, but it's like, man, those bikes are too shiny.
They always been. Oh man, bagging on them because they got new gear.
Yeah. Well, it went from the Mandalorian being like a Western to like a mob movie. And it's like, so it's a Western mob movie?
I think that's sort of what I liked about the Mandalorian. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yes.
Like, what's he gonna like? Who he's gonna encounter? Mm-hmm. Who's keeping? Is he gonna? I mean, he's gonna roll up on Luke again.
I don't know. Probably.
That worked for me. I was okay with that. I wasn't super cool. Like the CGI was a little weird that they de-aged him so much.
Yeah, but it's kind of like wow.
But it was really it was magical.
Because it's one of them like what happens, and this is like the middle. It's like,
but it's a middle though.
It's a new
that we really don't know what happened, because if Luke, Master Luke, takes somebody with Yoda's powers, all right, and has the ability to train them with the propensity that Yoda had, it's like, what happened to that little what's his name?
Grogu.
Yeah, what happens to him?
Yeah,
he's not there in the end. He's not part of any of the storytelling of the end.
Well, it's like, Ahsoka wasn't in any of the original ones, but all of a sudden she's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Where they're adding little. Because, like you said, well, Kylo Ren killed everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was he at? So, obviously they could be like, he wasn't there at the time.
Sure.
Mandalorian came and got him, and they're off doing some other stuff, right?
I don't know, dude.
But it's still kind of like, well, I think that's probably like with the Mandalorian, the end of the episode 1, a Mandalorian found Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever.
Right.
And it's kind of like, Boba Fett just kind of escaped out the Sarlacc pit with the flamethrower.
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, the Tusken kind of rescued him. Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what I am.
Like who came up with that? Like, we could have came up with something way better.
But see, that's what I was saying. Like, we know how that portion. We know how this time period ends in terms of like the Empire, in terms of like Luke, Leia, and all that sort of in the rebellion, right? But this fringe aspect of it, and now that you've had the encounter, which I thought was really I think it's really brave of them to make the choice to actually go as far, to go as far as having these characters
come back,
encounter their legacy characters.
Yeah,
like the biggest. We're not talking about like they bumped into Obi-Wan somewhere, which is post on Obi-Wan.
It's coming.
Yeah, is he going to hologram back?
I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to have his own little series too.
He can. Listen, dude. Luke can hologram. We know he can hologram. We know Leia. I'm sure Leia can too. Leia did. She did.
It's kind of it's the story in between the story.
Yeah, I love the endings. I wasn't the movies themselves, like the last Jedi and stuff or whatever. But
yeah, it's like us. It's been, except for maybe a couple times, but 22 years.
Yeah,
it probably went by.
Yeah,
maybe even longer. Man, we could talk for hours about what happened.
Yeah, right.
Man, you know what happened to me in 2003?
Yeah.
And you like, man, I was in LA in 2003.
Right.
I was doing this. And it's like, well, you know what I was doing? We could go on for days.
Yeah.
Like your wife's going to put out a missing report. I'm just over here talking to Micah still.
Yeah. I'm in the basement.
Yeah.
But look at these clouds. You got to show the people the clouds, man.
Man, I've posted a couple pictures. I need to figure out how to get them in the video part.
I think you can make it lower. You lower your camera angle.
I know that's what people have said, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
You'll figure it out, man. Or you
Yeah,
won't.
man.
Or you won't.
Well, it's probably done. We can probably wrap up, I guess.
All right, that's what's up.
All right, man. Well,
Yeah.
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 Peace. We out.
Yeah.